Good morning, everybody. Hopefully you can hear me. I'm going to wait a couple of seconds just to make sure I'm definitely live. Am I live? Yes, I am. So yeah, everyone, welcome to another episode of the comment section. Every week I come on at 11 o'clock on a Wednesday and run through just a few hints and tips on how you can extract more value from your comment section. Something that we here at Rupert are too passionate about, because too many brands still in the world that we live in are still not responding, extracting the value from the comment section that they are, especially if they're running paid and organic media. For those that don't know who I am, my name is James. I am the founder of Rupert, your 24/7 social media assistant. And I can officially tell you as of today, we are the best AI startup within the Midlands and within the top 10 of the UK. We won an award last night, so I'm going to shout it from the rooftops. But off that, let's go into today's topic, which is around social media automation, finding the right balance, how automated responses can support your social strategy, but with the key indicator here, which is without losing the human touch, which I think when we look at a lot of brands that are using automation, and especially AI now, you can see the ones that are using it and it looks pants, but we'll run through that now. So every week I like to start off with a statistic, and this one is 60% of people who moan about something on social media want the company to get back to them within an hour. It just shows that in the world that we live in today, that instantaneous nature of what people want. And when this study was conducted by Gartner, this one sort of really jumped off of the page at me, because actually realizing that people want a response that quickly on social, especially when most people are commenting on your posts out of hours, it's incredible really to think that, again, a lot of these brands, a lot of these consumers are expecting brands to respond in that quick period of time. But again, just be conscious that if you're running paid media, if you're running organic, or you're trying to build a community, just be very, very, very clear and conscious that people want a response and they want it quickly. So here's an example of a brand called Touchline Essentials. Now, these are a US-based health and wellness brand. And my question is to anyone that's watching this is, are these responses AI? Now, you'll see that actually these comments here are questions around how long do you use the detox for, and the one on the left hand side is, I've heard it helps remove parasites as well. Is this true? And you can see the response there. The responses from this brand are very, very specific. Now, I'm going to tell you that they are actually AI, and they're not just AI. These guys are a client of Rupert. They've been using Rupert for about for about 9 months now. And actually, what's amazing is when you look at these responses, not only have they been written by AI, but they still look human. But they've actually helped this brand get back to both of these customer service questions and actually potential sales opportunities as well. So they are actually a Rupert client. And what is really interesting is when I've shown people this before, they sort of sit there and go, I don't know if AI has written this. I don't think it has. And that is exactly what we want. And actually, it just shows that there are platforms and solutions out there that mean you don't, as a brand, look like you're using AI or just doing cookie cutter responses. But why is all this so crucial, brands? Well, as always, I put this into three. So the first one is automation saves times and increases efficiency. We know this. Automated responses can help manage high engagement. And again, a lot of you that are using things like paid media, you'll typically get a lot more comments on your paid ads than you will your organic, unless you're a really big brand with lots of community engagement. But this is allowing you to focus more on those strategic interactions. So brands that use automation for customer service see up to a 30% increase in response efficiency. Again, the stats tell its own story. And again, if you were to think about this in your own business or brands that you work with, that's a huge efficiency within the business. The second one is over automation can feel impersonable. And we see this a lot of the time. Customers expect now real conversations, although they know we use chatbots of stuff. But even when we use chatbots, we try and get through to the human as quickly as possible. But what they don't want is those sort of canned responses. And I speak about this a lot, which is like the Google sheet of just copy and pasting response into a question. And yes, you're responding to that particular consumer or that customer. But what it's not doing is it's just not giving that any authenticity, and it just doesn't feel authentic. So again, actually, that automation can feel impersonal, but it can also feel personal if you're using the right solutions. And then the third one there is best approach: automation plus human oversight. And this is where, for example, with Rupert doesn't automatically respond to any comment, because I still believe that actually brands themselves should be signing off essentially or tweaking very slightly the responses that go on. But the key for me for using automation is the speed, while but also keeping that personal touch. I would sort of think of it as that automation is that sort of first line of engagement, or that first line of just that categorization for you and that brand, and for them to tweak or go, yes, that's fine, or slightly amend or edit. That's the best approach. It's using both. We can't just have one or the other to get the best result, especially in social media, because unfortunately you will fall behind, and competitors will be. Again, this is another example of a brand, and my question is, are these using AI? So you'll see here that the question is, don't forget the dry rows for dogs. You have Bent's going home. We got ours there. So again, that's someone, which is great. Someone giving them, some feedback. So that's some positive feedback. And again, the response there is, hi, Susan, thanks for the shout out about the dry rows for the dogs. They're a fantastic addition for keeping your furry friends warm after their adventures too. Again, I think that seems like a really nice personable written response. And my question is that AI? And I'm going to tell you once again, this is another Rupert customer, and Rupert has actually written that response for them, and the client in this occasion, Bents, have actually signed that off. So again, it just shows that although a lot of brands are scared of using AI because they're scared that it's going to just start responding to anything in a really negative way, or it might get the context wrong. Again, there's another example of how you and your brand should be using AI. Even if you're using ChatGPT yourself and you're putting in a prompt, do that, and again, these are the type of results you can get. So here's 3 tips on how you can obviously get the best in terms of automation, and here's some things that you can take away today and implement. The first one is use smart auto replies for FAQs, but also customizer responses. So auto replies help address common questions really, really fast, while customization keeps them and the customer engaged. So there are things like, obviously, Rupert, you've got ManyChat, Sprinkler do, and a lot of these guys just do the things like ManyChat. They'll just do automated responsive, which is, hey, we'll get back to you in 24 hours. Again, that's okay. My recommendation would be to not pull those on, because it just looks, if someone's gone out their day to respond to a post that you've put out there or a paid ad, and you've just auto responded with that comment, I just don't think it paints your brand in the best light. So again, it's not something Rupert automatically responds to, but I would definitely be using tools of that nature, and then I would be customizing those responses. So for example, things like Rupert, you would a pre-written response would be ready for you and your brand to approve, or you can amend it slightly and then send it out. So that would be my first one, is use those tools out there, and a lot of them are so inexpensive now. These tools aren't a HubSpot type product. They're very cheap and inexpensive, and actually, if you look at the amount of time it saves, it'll pay for itself in the first week. The second one is blend automation with personal follow-ups. So auto replies can handle the volume, but real interactions need to be dealt with, or sort of real, should I say, key interactions or opportunities or customer service inquiries should be dealt with by an actual human being. So I, again, sort of back to that first one, which is I use automation to acknowledge and categorize those comments, and then I would be sifting through what categorization I'm going to start responding to first. So I'd probably start with sales opportunities. I would then go on to customer service. I would then sort of start sifting through the negative or complaints, and do it that way. And I would be setting up automation rules to flag important messages for you to manually respond. If you're using other platforms, for example, Rupert will do all that for you already, but I'd be setting that up because you're not missing opportunities. You know, having a conversation last night with someone just about what Rupert does, and where, again, one of the reasons why we created Rupert was purely down to the volume of missed opportunities that brands are missing. Not only just in terms of new customer acquisition, but also customers asking questions around products, around services, around delivery times, costings, pricing. Like, there's so much missed opportunity, and again, that for me is something that we've really got to start looking at, because all of us can go for our feed now on Instagram or Facebook or even TikTok, and you'll see comments galore on paid ads. And a lot of these questions are really, really fair and valid comments, but none of the brands are responding, or very, very few are. The third tip is automate engagement triggers to spark conversation. So what you can do is you can set up triggers that auto-respond to specific keywords. So things like pricing, help, details. And again, you can set those up. And it might be, do you have a free trial, something of that nature. And then you could set those triggers up. And you can do that in some of the platforms already in the back end. They're quite hard to do. But again, that is available to you. Or you can things like Zendesk. But again, all Zendesk will do, although it's a great platform, it will just sort of put it in a ticket system. So again, very inexpensive product, and it's great, but it will just, like I said, like I just said then, it will unfortunately just sort of categorize them, and it won't even categorize them in truth. It will just sort of give you a ticket in terms of has it been responded to or not. Again, one of the reasons why we created Rupert is that I wanted brands to get that value, not just the categorization, to get on it quickly and make it easy for brands to deal with, opposed to having it as another task on their day, or another ticket to deal with. And then here's another example of a brand. My question is, are these AI? And this is a brand called Naturewall. They sell woodwork for inside your property. So really nice, cool, trendy stuff you'd put in an office like this. And my question to you is, are these using AI? And I'm going to be really candid again. Again, this is another client of Rupert. And again, the reason why I wanted to show you these examples is that, we all as brands get scared of AI about responding to customer inquiries, whether it be via a chatbot, whether it be via our inboxes. And it just shows if you get it right, it can look, and it can be within your tone of voice, it can be within your brand voice, and it can really answer those questions that you're being asked in a really concise and clear way. And again, these are just some really good examples here of brands that are really utilizing, in this case, Rupert and AI, but it's helping their bottom line. Some of these guys that I've given you examples of today, they're having their best months and best years online and on social, and it's not clearly just down to the work and using our platform, but it's because they're playing to the number one rule of social media, which is engaging with users so they keep coming back. And if you keep doing that, your paid ads will reduce in terms of CPMs, and your organic content will get free reach. And again, this we know this as social media managers, as marketing teams, as brand managers. Keep the user engaged on the platform, and those platforms will put you on the top of the list when it comes to, again, from CPM and also a free reach perspective. As always, I'm going to ask if anyone's got any questions. I never get any questions. So again, if anyone's on there and you've got a question, let me know. But while you're typing all your questions, because there'll be hundreds now, there won't be. I'm here next Wednesday, as I am every Wednesday, 11 o'clock. And next week, we're going to be discussing the impact of fast responses on customer satisfaction. And it sort of goes into the stat we had in the first or second slide, which is 60% of people want a response within the first hour. And again, we'll run through why that timely engagement boosts customer experience, and also, which we're all trying to do, especially in the e-commerce sector, which is retention. Because once you've spent money to acquire that customer, which is typically the most expensive thing you'll do, actually retaining them and increasing their lifetime value is so important. But for those that are watching, thank you very much. That is me done for another week. If you have got any questions, shoot me a message on LinkedIn. I'd love to connect and engage and answer those for you. But if not, I will see you next week and have a lovely rest of the week. Cheers, guys. Take care.